All right. Lights, camera, action. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this pop-up training, this surprise pop-up training that I am presenting. Give me a second while I get all of my screens up and going. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to this pop-up training. It's a live pop-up training that I decided to hold so that I can share some great juicy tips with you today. So good morning, good evening, good night, whatever it happens to be, wherever you are, hello and good that part of the day for you. I'm going to be doing this pop-up training, and it's a mini pop-up training. It's going to be centered around 3 tips that can create greater career satisfaction for you. And who doesn't want more career satisfaction, right? That's what I thought. So that's why I decided, let me come on and talk to the people and tell them about how they can have more happiness in their careers. I mean, there's so much going on in the workspace these days. There's all kinds of, you know, there's no shortage to the number of people who don't like their jobs, who are unhappy, who, want to do something different. They can't even stand the thought of going to work, let alone what happens when they actually get to work. And that's not a good place to be in. Who wants to do that? So I am going to share with you 3 helpful things that you can do to create greater career satisfaction. But before I do, allow me to properly introduce myself. I am Vashana Weatherspoon, career strategist and excellence accelerator, helping women who feel frustrated in their careers to emerge from stuck and surge to their next level of success. I am someone who really focuses on and specializes in working with women over the age of 40 in particular to help them to find greater happiness, greater satisfaction, greater meaning and purpose in the work that they do. Because when you get to a certain age, your priorities start to change. The things that matter to you the most start to change. And so when that shift happens, you want to make sure that you're aligning yourself with what's going on the inside of you and helping to bring it to fruition in the work that you do in particular, and as well in other areas of your life. But we're sticking to careers because I'm the career strategist, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight, okay? So I am not going to keep you long because I know, at least on my part of the world, it's pretty late. So we're going to dive right in. If you are watching this broadcast and this is something that someone could benefit from, tag them into this video so they can get a chance to hear this great information. And if not, just share it out. Share it broadly. We don't have to be stingy. Don't be stingy with the information. And I'm looking at 2 screens because I'm streaming on Instagram and on not social media, and on Facebook and Periscope. So I have to have the 2 screens. So if you see me bobbing back and forth, I'm trying to make sure I give a little bit of attention to everybody. So let's jump right in. Get your paper and your pen because, like I said, this is a pop-up training. So I'm actually going to be training you on a few things so that you can go back and take it and apply it in your career starting tomorrow, so that you can start to experience the satisfaction and fulfillment that you desire from the work that you do, right? So I hope I stalled long enough for you to grab your paper and pen. Let's go ahead and get started. The first and foremost thing that you can do is to make sure that you're in alignment. I talked about being in alignment just a few minutes ago, the things that are, really buried deep inside of your soul that you really want to express. And, when we get to a certain age, we want to do things that have meaning to us. We want to do things that we feel are purposeful and that have an impact. And so we need to make sure that our actions are in alignment with that desire that we have. Because when we get in alignment, that is what helps us to have that greater satisfaction. When you start to feel, when you get out of alignment, you're going to feel it. You're going to have those icky feelings, and you're going to be depressed, and things are not going just quite right. And, you can't get that funk off of your shoulders. Those are all little indications that something is out of alignment. And you need to take a look back to figure out where are your desires and your intents not matching up with your actions and your outcomes. So that's the thing about alignment. But what I really want to talk about are your strengths and your gifts. So you want to make sure that the work that you're doing is in alignment with the things that you are talented at, the things that you are good at doing, the things that you really do well and that you excel in. Because if you're in a career and you're working out of your zone of genius, is what I'm going to call it, then you're always struggling. You're always trying to figure it out. It's not something that you're really good at. So you're never going to be, fantastic at it or anything like that. It's always going to be a struggle. And you might get to some point where you get better at it. But when you compare it to somebody who's really working in their area of genius, and you compare your level of work with their level of work, it's not going to add up. And that's when you can see the clear distinctions and delineations, especially in the workforce. And let's say we have two people on the same team, and they're doing a task that requires a certain strength or a certain skill set. And one person is doing the thing that they just excel at because that's their zone of genius, and the other one is just barely trying to, keep up and chug along, if you will. You're going to be able to clearly determine, who is really good at this thing and who is just kind of faking it till they make it, if you will. So you want to make sure that you're aligning your work with your zone of genius, and hopefully, ideally, aligning it with things that you actually enjoy, that you're actually passionate about, because that passion will help to drive you and push you and motivate you to go a little bit further and a little bit further, try a little bit harder to reach a different level of success, and not just barely scraping the bar of what we call minimum or average or fully successful. It helps you to be able to go above and beyond. And so combining those things that you are naturally gifted at, and the things that, you could do to the wee hours of the morning and you're still feeling like the Energizer Bunny, that's your magical combination. And that's what you're trying to accomplish. That's what you're trying to achieve. Because when you can do work and it actually energizes you, then you can do more of it, and you don't mind it. It doesn't even feel like work. And that is really something that a whole lot of people cannot say that they have, is that they work in something and it doesn't feel like they're really working for it, because it's just something that really comes very naturally to them, and they enjoy it, and they can do it for hours on end. I mean, that's a win-win. That's a win-win-win, if you will. So if you do this, you will never have to work another day in your life, as the old saying goes, when you're doing something that you really, really enjoy. The second thing that you should consider is that your values, so your personal values and your work values. So going back to that whole idea about alignment. So when your values, the things that you value as a person, and the things that you value in the work that you do, when they line up, you're in alignment and you have more satisfaction from doing the work that you're doing. Whereas when you're, hello, Uncaged Solutions, thank you for joining and thank you for that wonderful comment. So it can get a little tricky though. It can get a little tricky if you're out of alignment. Because as I was talking about, you don't feel good about it. You're not happy about it. You're not excited about it. And it shows in the work that you do and the work that you produce. So you'll need to create a list. So create a list of things that matter to you the most in your life and in your career. So you're going to have two separate lists. The things that you really value, the things that really matter to you personally, and then the things that you value in the work that you do and the career that you have. Hello, Maver. No, that's R.N. Avery, I think. Is that Ron Avery one? I think I screwed that up before, right? Hello, how are you? So at any rate, you want to make sure that you get clear. So you're going to get clear about the things that you value. And that's going to be two lists. One is in your personal life and one is in the work that you do in your career space. And then you want to look at those lists and compare them side by side and narrow them down to your top 5. And if you can merge the two, because you should start to find some kind of similarities as you're doing this comparison. Some of those things you have on the left side should be some of the things that you have on the right side. Do a comparison. And if they are not, if you have two separate lists, put them in priority order. After you've narrowed it down to 5 on this list and 5 on that list, and see out of those things that you have left, which ones are the absolute most important to you. We want to get to a smaller list because if you can get to a smaller list, of course, that's more manageable. And it's just like if you're picking a mate. If you have your ideal mate and you have a sheet that's from the ceiling to the floor, then you can forget that because you're never going to find all of those things. But if you can narrow it down to a few things that really matter to you, then it's going to be easier for you to actually hit the bullseye when you're trying to make sure that you're aligning up your work and your personal values and getting what you need out of your career. So go through that little exercise. When Ron is your name. Okay, good. Hello, Ron. Now I know what to call you. So go and do your little list and do your comparison and come up with your top 5 things that are most important to you personally and in your career, and see how they mesh together. And then the final thing that you want to do, because what you want to do is make sure that the work that you're doing is in alignment with those things that you have that are remaining as your top 5. Because the more you can be in alignment, as I said, then the more you're going to be satisfied and happy and fulfilled with what you're doing, because there's nothing that's kind of pushing you off track and causing you to feel like you need to change something or do something different. Now, of course, that's different from wanting to improve and just that continuous growth and development. That's a different thing. And that's a great thing to keep in mind. But for right now, we're trying to figure out how to create more satisfaction and not necessarily how we are achieving necessarily. And so the third thing that I'm going to offer to you tonight is to, you want to be in a position where you can have a career that supports your desired lifestyle. So I know we really don't think about our careers necessarily from that perspective, and definitely most of us don't think about it as the first thing. We usually think about, let's find a job and then let's see what kind of lifestyle it's going to afford us. Or we might dream about it, when we're growing up and in school trying to go through training or whatever. But when we're out and we really need a job and we really need to make money, then that's not necessarily the first thing that comes to mind, okay? So here we go. So you're going to be looking for the job. You want your job to support your lifestyle. So your opportunity to make sure that you have the income that you want, the time that you desire, the quality of life that you find appealing and that you would really enjoy living. It could be something as small as what neighborhoods you want to live in. Do you want to send your kids to private school? Do you want to be in a back to the neighborhood thing? I'm just thinking about, the little live and play and stay or whatever they call those communities that they're building now, or you live in the center of everything, and so you can work there and then you can play there and you live there. I think those are the three words they were trying to elude me, but I think those are, that's the concept anyway. I know that's the concept. What they call it exactly, it's escaping me, but that's neither here nor there, because what we're really talking about is just kind of imagining what that lifestyle is that you want to live, and making sure that when you're selecting a job, especially if you're in the market for a new job because you're looking for your dream job and not just, the job that you have or the job that you can have, then you want to make sure that you are considering all of these things and you consider them up front. So when it comes to salary negotiations, and yes, everybody can negotiate their salaries, you want to keep this in mind. You want to know what it is that, you want now and what you want 5 years from now, because maybe you probably want to keep your job at least 2 or 3 years, maybe 5 years. Some people keep them for a very long time before they change jobs. So think more long term versus just, in the here and now when you're thinking about accepting a new position, or maybe you need to go and you need to solicit your supervisor or boss about getting a promotion. When you go in and you want to talk numbers, make sure that you know what your numbers are, and make sure that those numbers are going to help you to live the life that you want, because you can have a job, but if you can't feed your family and you have to take 2 or 3 jobs just to pay the rent to keep the lights on, well, that's not very enjoyable and you're not going to get much satisfaction out of that. So think about these things up front and have your numbers in your head so that you are ready and willing to be able to make really informed decisions about what it is that you need to create and to support the lifestyle that you desire to have. Using your career as a mechanism to be able to afford that, right? Because that's the whole point of it. I'm flipping up my hair back here. But anyway, it's important to know what you want from your life, and that's the bottom line, and make sure that you are selecting a career path that's going to support that. That is, my dear, what I want to share with you tonight. Just 3 simple points. One quick recap before I let you go. The first thing you want to do is make sure that the whole focus is on alignment, right? So we want to make sure that our strengths and our talents and our skill sets and gifts are in alignment with the work that we're doing, because the more that you can be in alignment, the happier and more satisfied you're going to be. The second tip was to make sure that you are honoring your personal and your work values, and as much as possible, you want to try to combine those we talked about making lists. So you want to make a list, you want to narrow them down to your top 5, and you want to make sure that the work that you're doing is commensurate with your values. Because if what you're doing and your values are aligned, just like I just said before, then that creates less friction and it creates more happiness. And that's what we're striving for. And then the third thing is to make sure that your career is going to support the lifestyle that you want to live for yourself. Because, of course, when you can do the things that you want to do in your life, and you don't have to, work 5 jobs to be able to, just to be able to do the basic things, then it's automatically going to create more happiness just from that. But when you combine that and stack that on those other 2 things that I mentioned, then you have a recipe for success. And there's other things that go along with this, but I just wanted to share with you 3 simple, quick, easy things that you can do that can help to create and produce more career satisfaction for you. So that was what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. I hope that you have gotten some good information from this, some good nuggets, some good tips that you can go and start to work on tonight. So that is all that I have for you. Well, I take that back. That's not all I have for you. I am hosting a webinar. It's called 8 Steps to Creating Career Happiness, and it's being held on Thursday, which is next Thursday, June 20th at 8 o'clock p.m. And I am going to be going deeper into 8 steps, 8 steps that we all need to be following to help to create more career happiness in our work that we're doing, in our jobs and in our work and in our careers. And like I said, who doesn't want more of that? Because there's benefits galore to being able to say that I have a job that I really enjoy versus one that I have and I just hate to get out of the bed and go to it in the morning. So if you are on Facebook, as we say, and Periscope and all those great things, I am dropping the link in the comments. And if you're on Instagram, I'm so nice, I'm gonna drop the link here too so that you can get yourself registered, so that you can take a deeper dive with me into what it takes to create more career happiness. And that's all that I have for you guys tonight. Be sure to take advantage of this opportunity. We're going to get into some good stuff on this webinar next Thursday, 8 o'clock p.m. The link will give you the information for how to register. It will be on Zoom in case you're not familiar with it. Check it out. Very simple to use. And that's all I have for you guys tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.